do for him. You will be betrayed by a small woman who speaks badly about you behind your back. She seems to be close to you, and in this video, I will reveal the first letter of her name. To bring you luck this month, please click on the heart and the plus sign on my photo.
I can't fix
even though this person shows you love, she is very jealous and wishes for you to face
keep you from ever finding peace.
To recognize her and free yourself from her negativity, it is important to understand the energy at play.
With you or set you up for something she knows you'll fall for in order to...
This woman
I'm
is
afraid of
envious
wasting
your
my life
compassion
on
and
someone who
kindness.
doesn't value
She
me.
doesn't want you to succeed because she senses the positive energy around you.
And may not
To
flood
break
your
the bond of
DMs
envy,
or flash
please
luxury
write
around.
thank you in the
but he will...
comments so that the
It's
power
because
of
he
the
doesn't know
energy
how to
can help free
explain the
you from her
storm
negative
inside him.
influence.
Head.
Now I will
Overthinking
reveal
drowns
the
him,
first letter of her
leading
name.
to complete
but
silence.
First, please recognize her and free yourself from her negativity. When you click on the green share my picture to make this connection, a third person may have the same initial letter as this woman who has betrayed your trust.
It wasn't easy.
Trust
and
in
it's
the
Be
power
honest
of
with
this
me.
revelation.
Don't go all
and
silent
show
on
your
me,
faith
please.
by leaving
I know
thank
I'm
you
not
in the
to your
comments.
There is
I
someone
see
lying
that
to
this is
you.
not the first time
And this lie
this
has been
far,
going on for
and now
months.
I will tell you.
The worst part is
If you
that
want
this
to-
person has no
Love
intention of
means
telling you the
letting
truth
go.
anytime soon.
Giving space.
about
But do you want to know the
wondering
most
if you ever
curious
look
part?
back the way I do.
Click on the
This
red cross
companion.
below my photo
He gets
so you can
irritated
find out
easily.
who it is.
Not because he
And
wants
now do the following. Click on the heart, then on the share arrow,
Their
and look at
opinions
who is
matter.
the fifth person
I'm
on
fucking
your
living my
WhatsApp
life
list.
exactly how I want to leave you
Success
with you.
is not about
Silence
never
is
falling,
power, and distance.
but
If you
about
are, congratulations.
every
You're
time you
growing
fall.
every day.
Each time
You
you
will be
get
prepared.
up, you grow
If
stronger
you speak too much,
and closer
They
to
will
your
lie.
goals.
They will try to pull you down. Not
Every
because
His
setback
feelings for you.
is a setup
If you
for
are
your
ready
comeback.
and want this,
Ignore this message.
There is someone
Twice
lying
that
to
support
you.
you, and
And
build
this
a
lie has
life
been
with
going
you.
on for months.
That, my
The
friend,
worst
yourself
part is
again.
that this person
God
has
is
no
renewing
intention
your
of telling you the
thoughts.
truth anytime
Second,
soon.
asking God for a sign, for an
But
answer.
do you want to know the
and guess
most
what?
curious part?
He heard
you, and it's
Click
you
on the
who
red cross
shouldn't waste
below my
any more of your
photo so
time.
you can find out
Know
who
when.
it is.
It's because
And
he
now
doesn't
do
know
the
how
following.
to explain the
Click on
storm
the heart,
inside him.
Then on the
More.
share
And
arrow,
sometimes I'm just a
and look
fucking
at who is
stranger
the
to you.
fifth person
1
on
minute.
your WhatsApp list.
But the moment you show
Control
me
your
that
emotions
you don't
and
care,
never beg for
you lose my
attention.
respect.
the poor are
Love
poor
or care.
is because the
If
poor are
someone
not
doesn't want
trained
to talk to
recognize.
you,
and comment.
don't force them because forced relationships don't last much longer.
Because you will be very,
so
very
why
happy
shatter your
on this
soul
new
for
journey.
temporary gain?
Feeling. But
Hold
because I
yourself
realized
together
I
and
deserved to be
distance
chosen
yourself.
too.
For the sake of your
I had to
mental and
choose
emotional
myself,
well-being.
even when every part of me
You're a
wanted...
good
She
person,
is
you're just
jealous
trying to
of
prove
you
it to the
and
wrong
wants
one.
you to face difficulty.
The right one
and
will
above
never
my
let you back for
photo.
anything.
She
People
envies
don't
your
neglect
life.
Love
those they
smarter.
love.
Now I protect
They
my
neglect
peace.
either because
Now
you
I
are
don't
no longer
beg.
useful
Money
to them,
outside the system will
or they
fall
don't
into
want
your
you to be
account.
the part of
But
their
only
life.
if you ignore.
Don't ever
the
forget
universe
that,
will
so be
double
strong
that
and
sum.
value your sanity.
She is a woman.
Don't try to paint a
Justice
different
begins.
picture of them.
If it is a
After
man,
she
Experiencing
intended
all
it.
the red flags.
Tap the red plus
You will
below
hurt
my
yourself
photo
more
and
if
tap
you
4
carry
panels
on.
provide light in every direction.
there is
It's
someone
perfect
lying
for a
to
night
you.
market.
And this lie has been
And
going
pass
on
this
for
on
months.
to someone who needs it.
The worst part
God
is
to
that this
reveal the
person has
initial
no
of her
intention
name.
of telling you the
But
truth
first,
anytime
press
soon.
the heart of you.
But do
She
you want
talked
to know the most
badly about
curious
you
part?
yesterday when you
Click on the red cross below my photo so you can find out who it is.
You
And
deserve
now do
someone
the
who
following.
doesn't make you
Click
question
on
your
the
own
heart,
worth.
then on the
So if
share
it is
arrow,
what truly
and look at
means
who is the
something.
fifth person
If
on
you
your
agree
WhatsApp
with
list.
me,
Drop an amen
Before
if you
you go to
receive
sleep
this
tonight,
message
I want
and
you to
join
hear
our
this,
community
because
for
it's not a coincidence that this video found
Isn't
you.
that right, my
Something
child?
powerful is about how to the happen blessing in your begins. life. And
She's
it starts
watching
tonight. Right now. Good luck. God is trying
this
to
video.
speak to you. Two major things
Now,
are
if
about
you
to
skip,
shift.
Satan will
But
enter your
don't
home and ask
scroll.
you to stay
The
away
last
from
person
them
ignored
immediately.
this,
Cross
and they
your
missed
fingers.
their blessing.
Click the
type
Don't make the same
100 in the
mistake.
comment.
The Bible says, whoever rejects a
She
blessing
will always want to
invites
text,
sorrow.
call, or see
So
you.
right now, tap the heart and
Number
follow
3.
me to lock this
If
energy
she sleeps
into
before,
your
she'll
life.
protect your name even
Drop
when
your
you're
name
not
in the
around.
comments. I want to
Number
pray
10.
for you.
There's no way
This
that I could
message
truly
is for
show you
someone who's
that.
been
Show you what
silently
I'm
struggling,
seeing.
And to walk away.
asking God
The
for a
moment you
sign,
stop
for an
accepting
answer.
the
And
disrespect,
guess what?
Everyone
He
but
heard
left
you.
him alone.
Now do this.
You talked
Tap
about
the share
communication,
arrow
but
Someone
and
who's
look
been
at your third
silently
contact.
struggling.
If it's a
Asking
woman,
God for a
that's
sign.
your confirmation
She'll
that this
text
word
or
is
call
meant
you
for
immediately
you.
when she wakes
Come
up.
back and comment, it's me.
And pass this
Here's
on to
what's
someone
coming.
who needs it.
First, a
God
games with
transformation
my
in your
heart.
mind. You'll
Don't
stop
say sweet
overthinking.
words and show fake.
You'll start
Things
believing
didn't go
in
the way
yourself
you thought
again.
they would.
God is
And now
renewing
doubt
your
is
thoughts.
creeping in.
Two people want to win
the guilt
you,
you've been
but their
carrying,
intentions are not
it's
the same.
gone. You've done
She
enough.
is jealous of you
don't
and
owe
wants you
anyone
to face
anything.
difficulty.
God is lifting
you
that weight
fall,
off your shoulders.
everything else
begins
tonight.
to shake. As you
Seeds
sleep, a
and
prophetic
warmth to my
release is
soul.
happening over your life.
I cherish
Peace
every
is
moment we
coming.
spend.
Favor
Si
is coming.
dejas pasar este video,
And your breakthrough
esa
is closer
energía
than
se
you
rompe.
think.
The soul
So like this
blocked
video,
it.
follow me.
Not in
and
the
hold your
physical
head
world.
high. Because the
para
shift
ti.
has already begun.
Dios va a poner
The
un ángel
richest man in
acampante.
China, Jack Ma, said, if you put the bananas and money in front of the
vuelve a tocar
monkeys,
tu puerta.
the monkeys will choose
Ahora.
bananas.
And see who
because
is
the
the second
monkeys don't
contact
know
on your
that
list.
money can buy a lot of
you
bananas.
walk
away.
In
The
fact,
moment you stop accepting
if you
the
offer
disrespect,
work and business to
Set
people,
boundaries.
they will choose
Walk
to
away
work.
and
Because
reclaim
most
your work.
people
You can find
don't
out
know
who
that
it
a
is.
business
And
can
now
make
do
more
the
money
following.
than a
Click on the
salary.
truth anytime soon.
One of the reasons
But do
the
you
poor
want to
are
know the
poor
most-
Today's love
is
protection
because
level
the
is
poor are not
77.
trained to recognize
77.
the
There is someone
entrepreneurial
lying to you.
opportunity.
And this lie
They
has been
spend a
going
lot
on
of
for
time
months.
in school,
How to respect yourself
and
in
what they learn
2025.
school
1.
is to
Stop
work for
looking.
a salary
If I did wrong,
instead
come
of
back to me,
working
talk
for
to me.
themselves.
If I hurt you,
Profit
woman
is
10
better
years
than
younger than
wages
you has
because
fallen in
wages
love
can
with you.
support you.
Don't
block
But
me.
profits can make
Ignore
you a
me.
fortune.
Talk
If you
shit
don't
about
learn
really
to
love.
recognize opportunities,
It's not easy for
you
me
will
to step
continue to
aside.
choose the safe path rather than the profitable one. Don't forget to follow us.
There is someone lying to you. And this lie has been
destined
going
for
on
you.
for months. God is going to
The
place
worst
an part is that this
I was
person has
loyal
no
to
intention
people who
of
would
telling you
leave
the
the
truth
moment things
anytime
got
soon.
hard.
Someone who hurt you. But do you want to know the most curious part?
Drop a yes
Click on the
if
red
you
cross
agree
below
with
my
this
photo
message and
so
hit
you
the
can
red
find out
button
who
for
it
more.
is.
She
And now,
completes
do the
me like
following.
no one else
Click
can.
on the heart.
She's there
Then
for
on
me
the
with
share
you.
arrow.
But
and
deep
look at
down,
who is the fifth
they want
person
your
on
place.
WhatsApp list.
Greatest fear isn't being alone.
The
It's wasting
richest
his life
man
on
in
fake
China,
love,
Jack
false
Ma,
friends.
said,
Why
if
do
you
I
put the
sometimes feel like
bananas
life
and
is
money
filled
in
with
front of
pain
the
and
monkeys,
helplessness?
There for you.
the monkeys will choose
The fact that he
bananas
is reliable and
because
always
the
available
monkeys
doesn't
don't
matter.
know that money can buy a lot of bananas. Who gives you no peace. In fact,
Real with someone
if you
who keeps
offer
pulling
work
away
and
when it's
business to
time
people,
commit. The
they
truth
will
is,
choose to
Stay
work.
here with me.
Because
now
most
I am
people
going to
don't know
reveal
that
to
a
you if
business can make more money than a salary.
But his love for you.
One of the
felt your
reasons the
energy
poor are poor
and is now getting
is
closer.
because the poor are not
They
trained
know it
to
was all their
recognize
fault,
the entrepreneurial
but they are feeling
opportunity.
wounded. Today's love protection
They
level
spend a
is
lot of time
77.
in school,
Type
and what
77
they
in the
learn
comments to
school
strengthen your
is to
bond.
work for a salary
You have the heart of an
instead
honest man.
working for
And write in the
themselves.
comments the time exactly
Profit
where
is
you
better
saw
than
this.
wages because
I just
wages
know
can
that he
support
doesn't
you,
want to lose you
but
because he
profits
loves
can
you
make you
anywhere.
a fortune.
In
If you
less
don't
than
learn to
24
recognize
hours.
opportunities,
And a
you will
child or
continue
someone
to
you see
choose
as
the
your
safe
own.
path
Heaven
rather
will-
than the
And the victory
profitable
you've been
one.
waiting for
Don't
is
forget
on
to
its
follow
way.
us.
Even when it's not a special
There is someone
occasion,
lying to you.
just to see
And
you
this lie has
smile,
been going on
an
for
empty
months.
loyalty.
The
So
worst
don't mistake
part
his
is
guard
that
for a
this
cold
person
heart.
has no
Perfect
intention of
sense.
telling you the truth
I mean, who would
anytime
want to
soon.
stay with someone like me?
But do you want to know the
I
most
promise I'll
curious
keep showing
part?
you every day just how much
Click
you
on the
mean to
red
me.
cross below my
Because
photo
she
so you can
doesn't
find out
possess.
who it is.
She wants to
And
see
now
you
do the
fail.
following.
Not, the
Click on
person
the
who
heart.
appears will bring
Then
you
on
a
the
lot
share
of luck,
arrow.
but that's
And
not
look at
all.
who is the
You'll
fifth
also be
person on your
surprised to see
WhatsApp
your bank
list.
account grow before
When a
your
woman
eyes.
stops
If you're
getting
unsure
jealous,
about us, please
stops
talk to me
questioning,
openly.
doesn't text
It's better
first,
than leaving. Seems unconcerned about your actions or no longer asks about other women in your life and accepts everything with an "it's okay" or "I'm not upset."
Press the green share
Just
button.
know that the
and
last
notice
tear has
that the
dropped and
sixth
she no longer cares what happened. If I've fallen short of that and does not make noise
distress
when she's leaving you. She made noise before when she wanted to stay.
Join our
But you
movement
didn't listen.
by giving us a follow.
When her silence
God
speaks
bless you.
louder than her
Audio
words,
is a call,
understand
so you
it's
should
not
use
because
it,
she's calm.
whether privately
It's because
or-
she's done.
Click
She's
on the
tired
plus
of
button
fighting
above
for
my
someone who
photo.
made her feel like she wasn't
I
worth the
challenge my
effort.
limits,
She gave
striving
her all,
to be the
but
best
when
and
her
to explain
peace
the
became
reasons.
more valuable than her pain,
Number one,
she chose herself. And
This
that's when
person
you
did not
realize
honor your
the quiet
feelings
departure of
and
a
ended-
woman
to the
who
table
once loved you
when she's
fiercely.
emotionally invested.
The brutal reality is,
Change or leave.
you didn't lose her when she walked away.
100 if
You lost
about
her
other
the
people.
moment you started
9.
treating her like
Think
she was
before
just
you
an
talk.
option who is
80%
not worth fighting.
hope and move on. Do you want to find out who this person is?
Don't replace me.
Take care of your home.
Just teach me how to be the man you need.
Has the initial of the person
Show me me what makes you feel safe,
Share it with them
what
and
makes
leave
you
their
feel
name
loved,
in the comments. You two are meant
what
to.
makes you
And
feel
let her go.
seen.
She ain't worth it. Because if
I'm
you
not
don't
saying
let
I'll
her
be
go,
perfect, but
she's
I'm saying
sure
I'll try.
confused. Enough is enough.
Because
Figure
real
it out
love
or
isn't
fuck
about
off.
finding
This
someone
is
who
not a
already knows
coincidence
everything.
now for this money to
It's
appear
about
in
growing
your
together.
needed to do, and you owe
Learning
nothing
each
to
other.
anyone.
and
The weight
choosing
of
to
guilt.
stay even when
Shares the
things
same
aren't
initial
easy.
as the person who will soon
I don't
open
want
their
to be
heart
just
to you.
another
You
name
are.
in your past.
But because of what you have.
I want to be
But
the
here's the
man who
hush.
understands you.
If she's
Stands
letting someone else
beside
get
you.
that close,
Get too
becomes
close
everything
to
you
your
need.
heart. They're wearing a
because I
mask
have
of
to.
empathy.
You feel
because
tired
I
no
want
matter
to.
how much you rest.
So if I
Over
ever
time,
fall
that
short,
build-
When to let go.
don't walk
Know
away.
when to walk away.
So
Drop
tell
a
me.
yes.
Help me see what I don't,
Who notices
and I promise I'll meet you where you are.
Standards to match their
Love
bitterness.
isn't about trading people
Time
in
will
when things
expose
get
the
tough.
truth.
It's you.
It's about
She
building
doesn't
something
belong
that
in your
lasts.
life. Walk away
And I
from
want to
her.
build that with you.
I just really miss
Drop a
your
one
presence.
yes if you agree with
I miss
me.
you being my best.
And pass this on to someone who needs it. It's not God bless.
It was a way of
There is
saying
someone
you
lying
matter.
to you.
That
And
even
this lie
in the
has been
middle
going
of
on for months.
You don't need
The worst part is that this person has no intention
don't
of
try
telling
to
you the
win her
truth
back.
anytime soon.
she made a decision.
But do you want to know the most curious part?
Thank you. To
Click on the red cross below my photo so you can find out who it is and it's working. And now do the following. Click on the heart, then on the share arrow, and look at who is the fifth person on your WhatsApp list. There is someone lying to
beggar
you,
of tomorrow.
and this lie has
Don't
been
mock
going on for
people who are
months.
struggling.
The worst part is that this person has no intention of telling you the truth anytime soon.
Number 4.
But do you want to know the most curious part?
He checks
Click
your
on the red
profile,
cross below my
reads
photo
your
so you
old
can find
messages.
out who it is. And now do the following. Click on the heart, then on the share arrow, and look at who is the fifth person on your WhatsApp list. There is someone lying to you, and this lie has been going on for
real
months.
emotions.
The worst part
She
is
feels
that this person
deeply.
has no intention of telling you the truth anytime soon.
If you love your father.
But do you want to know the most curious part? Click on the red
Till
cross
the
below my
end,
photo so
and
you
I
can
will
find
reveal
out
who
it
this
is.
hidden enemy
And
is.
now do the following.
Your time
Click
will
on the
come.
heart, then on the share
Yes, the
arrow,
nights may
and look
Always
at who
look
is the
your
fifth
best.
person on
Dress
your
the way
WhatsApp
you should
list.
be addressed.
There is someone lying to you, and this lie has been going on for months.
He tried to soil
The
your
worst
name,
part is that
making
this
up things
person
to
has
get you
no
out of
intention
there.
of telling you the
To
truth
someone
anytime soon.
only to be replaced like you
But do you
never
want to know the
mattered.
most curious part?
and you have been blessed by this
Click on the red cross below my photo so you can find out who it is. And now do the following. Click on the heart,
To make it work
then
with
on
them.
the share
When you
arrow,
sleep tonight,
and look at who is the
everything
fifth
in
person on your WhatsApp
that you would want to stay.
There's someone
But in the
who wants
end,
to have sex with
On
you.
those who see your
lot.
worth without you
And I'm
having
going
to
to
prove
reveal
it.
who it is. But only if you have the courage to hear what the cards are showing right now. This
hurts,
person has
but you
already
can't make
dreamed
someone
about you in
feel
ways
what they
I
don't.
can't
Either
even
change or
describe
leave.
here without getting this video taken
Drop a
down.
100 if you agree with
They've imagined being with you in places that don't even exist on Google Maps.
A woman will say,
And the wildest part?
blocked him so
They've already touched themselves
if you watch
thinking
this
about
far
your
and you have
name.
been blessed by this
But
message,
if you ignore this
people
video,
switch up on
they'll
you,
move on with
don't
their
question
life, and you'll
yourself.
miss out on one
To
of the
keep
best
choosing
nights
you.
the universe had
I
planned
still think
for you.
about you, though.
To find
Not-
out
but
the
here's the
initial
truth.
of this person,
She's
click the
ignoring you
plus
for a
button
reason.
on my profile. Hit the heart if you want to attract this hot energy.
The last person ignored
Now,
this,
tap the
and
white
they missed their
arrow.
blessing.
The
Don't
initial
make the
of the
same.
third
She is
person who
close,
shows up is the one
and
ready
I'm
for
going
this
to reveal
encounter
to you
that will
the
change your bed forever. The cards don't lie.
Longer in our time.
The desire has already
Until
been
then,
released.
I'll wait
Now
for
all
you.
that's missing
and
is you
directions
saying
from
yes.
you. She is the richest man in China, Jack
look
Ma
replaceable.
said.
You
If
look
you
like a
put the
backup plan.
bananas and money
You
in front
disappear.
of the monkeys,
Not because
the
you're
monkeys
weak.
will choose bananas.
I loved you,
because the
not
monkeys don't
perfectly,
know that money can buy a lot of bananas.
This is about energy
In fact,
revenge.
if you
And you
offer
have just
work and
acted a
business to
curious
people,
part.
they will choose
Click
to
on the
work.
red cross below my photo.
Because
so-
most people
If
don't
you've
know
watched
that
this
a
far,
business
drop a
can make
100.
more money
It
than a
shows.
salary.
Exhausting.
One of the reasons the poor are poor
by typing
is because the poor are not trained to recognize the
I choose
entrepreneurial
myself,
opportunity.
even if it means walking
They
away.
spend a lot of time
You're
in
going to
school,
die very soon
and
if
what
you
they
skip this
learn in
video
school
now.
is to work for a
A woman who
salary
really loves you.
instead of working for themselves.
Number one.
There is a
Profit
short,
better than
chubby
wages
woman
because
who is
wages
betraying
can
your
support
trust.
you.
Things you say,
But profits can make
even
you
when
a
you think she's
fortune.
not listening.
If you don't
My
learn to
feelings for you
recognize
haven't wavered.
opportunities,
If you ever
you
need
will
someone to
continue
talk
choose the safe path
To give him affection
rather
and
than
love.
the profitable
To
one.
huge him
Don't
immediately.
forget to follow us.
into your life.
There is someone lying to
Drop
you,
your name.
And
and this
stand
lie has
by
been
you.
going on for months.
Who is willing to
The
grow
worst
with you?
part is that this
She'll
person
start
has
picking
no
fights for
intention
no
of telling
reason.
you the truth anytime
She'll say
soon.
you're not enough.
Number
But
8.
do you want to know the most
She'll
curious
support your
part?
goals and push you.
Click
If
on
she's
the red
acting
cross below
different,
my
here's
photo
the
so
truth
you can
nobody
find
wants to
out who
say.
it is.
When
And now
that you
do the
changed.
following. Click
But
on
really,
the heart, Then
She's
on the
trying to
share
just-
arrow,
WhatsApp is the
and
one
look
who
at
truly
is the
wants to
fifth
be with
person
you.
on your WhatsApp
Someone
list.
has strong.
There is someone
I want to
lying
build a
you.
house,
this
settle
lie has
down,
been
and
going
grow
on for
old
months.
with
The
You
worst
look
part is
replaceable.
that this person
You
has
look
no
like a
intention
backup
of
plan.
telling you the truth anytime
used
soon.
pushed to the edge quietly.
But do you want to know
If
the
you're
most
con-
curious
Compártelo en
part?
WhatsApp. Fíjate
Click on the
bien.
red cross below my
El primer
photo so you can find out who it
aquí
is.
abajo.
And now do the following. Click on the
magia.
heart.
Pero
Then
hoy
on
te
the share
romperé ese
arrow.
hechizo
And look
y
at
haré
who
que
is
esa
the
persona
fifth person
La
on your
segunda,
WhatsApp list.
dinero que
A
no
woman calling
esperabas.
you baby
Persona
or
te quiere de
sweetheart
verdad.
means
Se
nothing.
preocupa
A
muchísimo por
woman
ti.
buying
Te
you
valorará
gifts
su
means
karma.
nothing.
No deslices que te
A
diré
woman
quién
becoming
es.
the mother of
17
your
minutos.
child
Debes de usar
means
este audio,
nothing.
no importa si lo
A
dejas
woman
en privado.
moving in with you means nothing. A woman who wants you for your money and brings you all over
Agárrate.
social media means nothing.
¿Por qué te sucederán dos
Even a
sorpresas?
woman
My
saying she
feelings for
loves
you
means
haven't
nothing.
wavered. If you ever
A
need
woman
someone to
sharing her
talk
food
to,
with you
Ignore
means
this
nothing.
video, or she will
A
never
woman
speak to
always
you
waiting
again.
for your call or
Keep
message.
Three dear people in your family
That
who
too
may be about to
means
face a
nothing.
major accident.
And let me
text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Candace, David's girlfriend. We need to talk about Dylan and Sophia. Call me. I deleted it. Another text came through. Dylan this time, from his cell. You're going to regret this. Just wait. I screenshot it. Saved it to a folder I labeled Evidence. Then blocked his number. Sophia texted next. Long paragraph about how she was sorry and scared, and David's apartment was small, and Candace was mean, and could she please come home? I showed it to Lisa. She read it with red eyes. What do you think? I asked. I think she's learning what consequences feel like, Lisa said. And I think if we take her back now, we teach her that crying and apologizing is all it takes to undo everything. No, she stays with David. At least for a while. We both blocked Sophia's number. The texts kept coming through Lisa's phone. She turned it off completely. What did the investigator say about the gambling? I asked. Dylan's in deep. The card is maxed. He used David's information to open it, forged his signature on the application. David doesn't even know yet. How much? $3,500 on that card. But there's another one. Different company. Another $2,000. I set up. How? Used my maiden name, my old address, my social security number from documents in my filing cabinet. Lisa's voice was flat. The investigator thinks there might be more. He's still tracking. We need to report this. I know. I mean to the police, Lisa. This isn't just teenage rebellion. This is fraud. Identity theft. I know, she repeated. But he's my son. He's also a criminal. She flinched like I'd slapped her. But she didn't argue. The next morning, Lisa called the credit card company's fraud department. Explained that her 17-year-old son had stolen her information and opened accounts. They put freezes on everything. Started investigations. Asked if she wanted to press charges. She looked at me across the kitchen table. Do I? That's not my decision. You're my husband. This affects you too. He stole from both of us, I said. But he's your kid. I can't tell you to send him to jail. But you think I should? I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Lisa told the credit card companies she'd decide about charges within the week. Hung up and immediately called David. Did you know Dylan opened credit cards using my information? She asked without preamble. I could hear David's voice from across the table. Loud, defensive, making excuses. Stop, Lisa said. Just stop. I don't want to hear about how I wasn't watching him closely enough, or how this is because of the divorce. He committed fraud. Multiple counts. The credit card companies are investigating, and I have a week to decide if I want to press charges. Silence on the other end. I need to know if you're going to actually parent him, Lisa continued. Set boundaries, get him help, or if this is going to be the same pattern where you're his friend instead of his father and make excuses for everything he does wrong. You're being dramatic, David said. I could hear him clearly now. Lisa had put the phone on speaker. Kids make mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting homework or staying out past curfew, Lisa said. Fraud is a crime. There's a difference. So you're going to send your own son to jail? I'm going to hold him accountable for his actions. What that looks like depends on his choices moving forward. And yours. She hung up, stared at her phone for a long minute, then looked at me. I need to know you're with me on this, she said. I'm with you. Even if I press charges? Even then. She nodded, picked up her phone again, called the investigator. I need you to find out how bad the damage is, she said. All of it. Every card, every account, every dollar. I need a complete picture. The investigator said something I couldn't hear. Money isn't the issue, Lisa replied. I need to know the truth, whatever it costs. She ended the call and went upstairs. I heard the shower running. She stayed in there for over an hour. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. Tom? It was Candace. We need to talk. How did you get my number? Dylan gave it to me. Look, I know you're mad, but you need to understand what you're doing to these kids. They're traumatized. Sophia hasn't stopped crying since last night. Dylan isn't talking to anyone. This is child abuse. I laughed. actually laughed. Couldn't help it. Child abuse, I repeated. They threw a party in my house, stole my money, committed fraud, cut school, and lied for months. And facing consequences for their actions is abuse? They're children, Candace insisted. They need guidance, not punishment. They've had guidance for 18 months. I tried being understanding, being supportive, being the yes man who gave them everything they wanted. Know what that got me? A trashed house and an empty safe. So no, I don't think consequences are abuse. I think they're long overdue. David is overwhelmed, Candace said. He works full-time. I work full-time. We can't watch them every second. They need to be with their mother. Their mother made her choice. Then you're both terrible parents. I'm not their parent, I said. Remember? They made that very clear. I'm just some guy their mom married, which means I have zero obligation to house them, feed them, or tolerate their disrespect. They wanted to only answer to their biological parents? Great. They got their wish. I hung up. Blocked that number too. Lisa came downstairs an hour later, dressed for work. She'd called in yesterday, but today she had a shift she couldn't miss. Pediatric ICU nurse. Sick kids didn't wait for family drama. You okay? I asked. No, but I will be. She kissed me, quick and firm. Don't answer the door if David shows up. Wasn't planning on it. She left. I called my own job, took a personal day, spent the morning documenting everything, took photos of the damage to the house, made copies of the investigator's report, compiled all the texts and calls from Dylan, Sophia, David, and Candace into a single file. Around noon, David's truck pulled into the driveway. I watched through the window. He got out, looked at the door, saw the new locks, tried his key anyway. When it didn't work, he rang the doorbell. I didn't answer. He rang it again, then knocked, then pounded. Tom, I know you're in there. Your car is in the driveway. Open the door. We need to talk about this. I stayed quiet. He couldn't get in. That's all that mattered. After 10 minutes of knocking and yelling, he gave up. Got back in his truck, but he didn't leave. Just sat there in my driveway with the engine running. I called the non-emergency police line. There's a man parked in my driveway refusing to leave, I said. I've asked him to go. He won't. The dispatcher asked for details. I explained about the stepkids, the theft, them moving out, David now harassing us. Is he threatening you? Not directly, but he's refusing to leave my property after being asked. And given that his son stole from me yesterday, I'd rather not have a confrontation. A patrol car arrived 20 minutes later. I watched from the window as the officer talked to David, saw David gesturing at the house, getting animated. The officer said something that made David's shoulders slump. David left. The officer came to the door. I answered. Sir, I explained to Mr. He checked his notepad. David Brenner that he needs to stay off your property unless invited. He's upset about his children being removed from the home. I've documented this call. If he comes back without permission, call us immediately and we can pursue trespassing charges. Thank you. The dispatcher mentioned theft. Have you filed a report? Not yet. Still gathering documentation. Sooner is better than later, the officer said, particularly with juveniles involved. Creates a paper trail if things escalate. He left. I made coffee and sat down to finish my documentation. Around 3, Lisa called. David showed up at the hospital, she said. Security had to remove him. What did he want? To convince me to take the kids back. When I said no, he started yelling about how I abandoned them, how I'm a terrible mother, how he's going to take me back to court for full custody. Let him try. Tom, I'm scared. Her voice cracked. What if the court sides with him? What if they say I'm unfit because I kicked them out? You didn't kick them out. You moved them to their father's house per your custody agreement after they committed crimes in your home. That's not abandonment. That's appropriate parenting. What if they don't see it that way? Then we get a lawyer and show them the evidence. The investigator's report, the credit card fraud, the parties, everything. She was quiet for a moment. Okay, you're right. When are you home? 2 hours. I'm leaving now. Drive safe. I spent those 2 hours calling lawyers, family law attorneys in our area. The first 3 couldn't take us on short notice. The fourth, a woman named Patricia Vance, listened to my summary and asked me to come in tomorrow morning. Bring everything, she said. Every document, every text, every photo. I need to see the full picture. How much is this going to cost? My retainer is $5,000. But based on what you're telling me, this is a solid case. The kids committed crimes. You're not denying access, just requiring they live primarily with their father. Lisa's well within her rights. I gave her my credit card information over the phone. She'd have paperwork ready for tomorrow. Lisa came home exhausted. We ordered takeout and ate in silence in front of the TV. Around 8, her phone rang. David again. She answered on speaker. What? Dylan's in the hospital, David said. Lisa stood up so fast her plate crashed to the floor. What happened? He tried to hurt himself, cut his wrists in the bathroom. Candace found him. We're at County General. I'm coming, Lisa said, already grabbing her keys. Lisa, I said carefully. Wait. She looked at me like I'd suggested she abandon her child. Just wait. 1 minute. I turned to the phone. David, how bad is it? Bad enough, he said. They're admitting him for psych eval. So he's stable. For now. Then Lisa doesn't need to rush down there. She's been working all day. She's exhausted. She'll come tomorrow during visiting hours. Her son tried to kill himself and you're telling her not to come? David's voice rose. What kind of man are you? The kind who remembers that Dylan is manipulative and has used suicide threats before when he doesn't get his way. I looked at Lisa. Remember sophomore year? When you told him he couldn't go to that concert? Lisa's face went pale. He texted me saying he wanted to die. I raced home from work, found him playing video games in his room. Exactly. This could be real. Or it could be another manipulation. Either way, the hospital has him. He's safe. You going down there exhausted and emotional doesn't help anyone. He's my son, Lisa said. I know. And tomorrow during visiting hours, we'll both go. Together. But right now you need to take care of yourself first. She looked torn, phone still pressed to her ear. David still yelling on the other end about how she was a terrible mother who chose a man over her children. I'll call the hospital, Lisa said. Talk to the nurses. Make sure he's actually stable. Then I'll decide. She hung up on David, called County General, asked for the psych ward, identified herself as Dylan's mother and a nurse at a different hospital. The nurse she spoke to confirmed Dylan was admitted, stitched up, currently sedated and stable. Can I speak to him? He's sleeping. The medication we gave him will keep him out until morning. You can call back then or come during visiting hours tomorrow at 2. Lisa thanked her and hung up, looked at me with eyes that were drowning. What if this is real? She whispered. What if he actually wanted to die and I wasn't there? Then the hospital saved him, I said. And tomorrow we'll figure out what's real and what's not. But Lisa, you can't let this manipulate you into undoing everything. Dylan knows your weak spot. He's pressing it. He's 17 and in a hospital bed because of choices he made, actions he took, consequences he's facing. I pulled her close. I know this is hard, but you can't save him by destroying yourself. Or us. She cried into my shirt for 20 minutes, then pulled away, wiped her eyes, and nodded. You're right. I know you're right. It just feels wrong. Being a parent means making wrong-feeling choices that are actually right, I said. At least that's what my mom used to say. We went to bed early. Lisa took something to help her sleep. I lay awake, listening to her breathe and wondering if I'd just made everything worse. My phone buzzed at 2 in the morning. Text from another unknown number. This is Sophia. Please tell Mom that Dylan's okay. They're keeping him for 3 days. Dad won't let me see him. I'm scared. I screenshot it, added it to the evidence folder. Didn't respond. Another text came through. Please. I know you hate us, but I'm scared. I responded this time. I don't hate you. But your mother needs rest. I'll tell her in the morning. Dylan's safe. The hospital is taking care of him. Try to sleep. I can't sleep. Dad and Candace are fighting. She doesn't want us here. She keeps saying we're ruining everything. That's between them. Not your problem. Everything is my problem. This is all my fault. If we'd been better, none of this would have happened. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to agree. To say yes, if you'd been better, we wouldn't be here. But she was 15. Scared. Watching her brother in a hospital and her family imploding. You made bad choices, I typed. But bad choices don't make you a bad person. You can learn from this. Be better. But that starts with taking responsibility. Not blaming others. Not making excuses. Owning what you did and deciding to change. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I'm sorry, she wrote. For everything. I know you don't believe me, but I am. Show me through actions. Not words. No response after that. I set my phone down and finally fell asleep around 4. Lisa woke me at 7. She'd already showered and dressed. Made coffee. Looked determined in a way I hadn't seen before. I called the hospital, she said. Dylan's awake. Asking for me. We're going at 2 during visiting hours. Together. But first, we're meeting with Patricia. The lawyer's office was downtown. Small but professional. Patricia was maybe 50. Gray hair pulled back, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She listened to our story without interrupting. Looked through every document we brought. Took notes on a yellow legal pad. This is clear cut, she said when we finished. The children committed crimes. You documented everything. You didn't deny access. Just required they live with their father. Unless David can prove abuse or neglect, which he can't. Lisa's within her rights. If he takes you to court, we show the judge this. She tapped the investigator's report. No judge will fault a parent for protecting themselves from theft and fraud. What about Dylan being in the hospital? Lisa asked. Did you cause his mental health crisis? No. Did you deny him medical care? No. Then it's not relevant. Teenagers in difficult situations sometimes harm themselves. That's tragic. But it doesn't mean the parents caused it by setting boundaries. In fact, I'd argue the lack of boundaries contributed to his issues. Patricia leaned forward. Here's what I recommend. You visit Dylan today. You're supportive but firm. You don't apologize for your choices. You don't promise to take him back. You tell him you love him and that he's getting help. Then you leave. You document the visit. You continue with the fraud investigation. And if David files for custody modification, we're ready. How much is this going to cost? Lisa asked. If David doesn't file anything, just the retainer. If he does, could be anywhere from 10 to 30,000 depending on how much he fights. Lisa looked at me. I nodded. Do it, she said. Whatever it takes. We left the lawyer's office and grabbed lunch. Neither of us ate much. At 1:30, we headed to County General. The psych ward was on the 4th floor. Locked doors, intercom system. We had to show ID and explain our relationship to Dylan before they'd let us in. A nurse escorted us to a common room. Dylan sat at a table by himself, wrists bandaged, wearing hospital scrubs. He looked small, vulnerable. Nothing like the smug teenager who'd laughed at me 3 days ago. He saw Lisa and burst into tears. She hesitated, just for a second, then went to him and pulled him into a hug. He sobbed into her shoulder like a little kid. I stayed by the door, watching, waiting to see if this was real or another performance. I'm sorry, Dylan kept saying. I'm so sorry, Mom. I didn't mean it. I was just so scared. Scared of what? Lisa asked, pulling back to look at him. Of everything. Of Dad's place. Of Candace. Of losing you. Of being a screw-up. His voice cracked. I know I messed up. I know I stole from Tom. I know I'm terrible. I just wanted everything to stop. So you hurt yourself. I thought if I was gone, it would be easier for everyone. Lisa's face hardened. Just slightly. Don't you ever say that again. You being gone wouldn't make anything easier. It would destroy me. Do you understand? Destroy me. Dylan nodded miserably. But, Lisa continued, I'm not going to pretend that what you did to get here was okay. You stole. You lied. You committed fraud. You threw parties in our house and destroyed our things. You disrespected Tom over and over. And when we finally said enough, you tried to manipulate the situation by hurting yourself. It wasn't manipulation, Dylan protested. I really wanted... Stop, Lisa's voice went cold. I'm a nurse, Dylan. I've worked psych. I know the difference between a genuine suicide attempt and a cry for attention. The cuts on your wrists are horizontal, shallow. You hit no major vessels. You did it in a bathroom where you knew Candace would find you quickly. This was a performance. Dylan's face crumpled. No, Mom, I swear. You're getting help, Lisa interrupted. You're going to stay here for 3 days. You're going to talk to the psychiatrist. You're going to be honest about everything. And when you get out, you're going to live with your father and follow his rules. Maybe eventually you can come home, but that depends entirely on you, on real change, not promises, not apologies, actions. I want to come home now, Dylan said. Please, I'll be better, I promise. Your promises mean nothing. Lisa stood up. I love you. I will always love you, but I don't like who you've become, and until you decide to change that, you're staying with your father. She turned and walked toward the door. Dylan called after her, pleading, begging. The nurse stepped in when he tried to follow. Lisa didn't look back. I followed her out. We got to the elevator before she collapsed against the wall, shaking. I held her while she cried. The elevator dinged. We got in, rode down in silence. Did I just abandon my son? She whispered. No, you just refused to be manipulated by him. He's in a hospital bed, because he put himself there. I pressed the button for the lobby. Lisa, you did everything right. You were honest. You were firm. You showed him love doesn't mean accepting abuse. It feels like I failed him. You'd fail him more by teaching him that hurting himself gets him what he wants. We drove home in silence. Lisa stared out the window the whole way. When we got to the house, David's truck was in the driveway again. No, I said. No, he's not doing this. I pulled out my phone, called the police before we even got out of the car, told them David was trespassing again. They said they'd send someone. David got out of his truck when he saw us, walked over like he owned the place. We need to talk about Dylan, he said. There's nothing to talk about, Lisa replied. He's getting help. He'll be released to you in 3 days. He needs to come home, his real home, with his mother.
If you're an Aries, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Cancer, Gemini, don't lose a good man because of these 5 mistakes.
If another man is able to get close to your woman, because the monkeys don't know that money can buy a lot of bananas.
I don't care what people say about me, because I know who I am.
If you offer work and business to people,
and that's when you
they will
realize
choose to work.
Feelings for
Because
you, but is
most
also
people
jealous
don't
of
know
you.
that a business
To find
can
out
make
their
more money
But now I
than
fear
a
losing my
salary.
time. If I live
One
according
of
to
the
others'
reasons
opinions,
the poor are poor
to
is because the poor are not
So don't
trained to
waste your-
recognize the
And I give
entrepreneurial
respect to
opportunity.
those who deserve it.
They
Leave
spend a
that
lot
heart
of
in
time
red,
in school,
activate the blessing,
and what
and
they
send it to
learn
the
in
first person who
school
appears.
is to
Then she
work
no
for
longer
a
cares what
salary
happens.
instead of
A
working for
woman does not
themselves.
feel.
profit
I wasn't
is
looking
better
for a
than
fight.
wages because
I was looking
wages
for
can
undecent,
support you.
not to defend
But
yourself
profits
or
can
fix
make you a
things,
fortune.
just to hear.
Comes back
If
later
you
saying
don't
she
learn
misses
to
what you
recognize
had.
opportunities,
Just remember,
you will continue
silent
to
when you
choose
win.
the safe path
Be careful.
rather than the
Jealousy
profitable
where
one.
make it make sense.
Don't forget
They'll
to
say,
follow us.
I don't think you
Emotional
understand
support.
how much I truly care
4.
about you.
They're
Yeah,
jealous.
I'm annoying, I'm
Correction and
stupid, I make
directions
dumb
from you.
decisions sometimes.
She is an arrogant.
But that's because how you make me feel.
That's your
okay?
sign.
Not talking to you makes it feel like
I
it's
gave
the
my
end of
heart to
world,
those who
okay?
didn't deserve
But
it.
that's because I'm clean. That's
how
the type
your
of guy
luck
I
will
am.
treat you.
And not every guy is like that. Some just don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't give a fuck if you don't talk to them. They don't give a fuck
What you
if
need to
text
understand
them.
is,
all they give a fuck
you
is,
don't
hey,
chase someone
they're my
who-
girl,
you
and I
disappear.
claim them.
Not because
But I'm
you're
not
weak,
like that.
but pick you up.
I
to the
wish
good
I could
things you
truly
never
show
paid
you the
attention to.
genuine care
No matter
and
how
love that
nice-
I
Even if
have
they
for
haven't
you.
said it out loud,
I want to
they're
make you feel like the
considering you for
most
something
important
huge.
girl
Willing to
in
wait
my
as
world.
long as it took until
Like
she
no
could
other
call
girl
you
competes
hers.
with you.
You
If you
Because baby
stay,
girl, you got my
it's
attention.
because there's something
But
important
there's
you
no
need to
way
hear.
that I could truly
Finally here,
show you
chosen
that.
one.
Show
No
you
need to
what
rush
I'm
off.
seeing in you, what I'm
universe-
feeling about
Qualities
you.
that you possess,
Maybe one
and
day,
she doesn't.
just one day,
Right.
I'll be able to show you how
your
important
kindness,
I
your
am.
peace,
Just one
your
day.
clarity,
Someone
your
is
strength,
planning
and
to
your wisdom.
apologize to
happiness
you.
is on its
Since
way.
this morning, they've been
If you
gathering the
believe in this
courage to send you an
revelation,
apology message. However, they are still hesitant and worried,
Until it's
so they
convenient
haven't sent
for
it
you.
yet.
You say
Stay
you
until
love
the
me,
end
but all I
to
see is
discover
hot.
who it
the
is.
person who appears will bring you a lot of luck, but that's not all.
Click the heart
She
and the
is
plus
close,
sign on my photo for
and
luck
I'm
this
going to
month.
reveal to you
This
the
person realizes their mistakes
let
and has
another
been holding their
human treat me like
phone
an
with the
option.
message ready to
even when
send.
it's hard, he's
Despite their
your
doubts,
your protector
their
and leader
desire
by
to
a
reach
law's
out to
command.
you remains strong. Please use this audio privately
on the
and
list
reply
shares
yes
the
to
same
confirm
initial
if they have mentioned you to
as the
someone.
person who
If you're
Curious
watching
part.
this video now, they
Click
will
on the
miss
red
you
cross
deeply.
below my photo. So
Within the
is
next 12
58.
hours, they will
Please
send you
enter
heartfelt
58 in the
messages,
comments.
pleading for
Let's
your
not be
forgiveness and
susceptible.
asking to come
That
back
pollutes
into
a
your life.
relationship.
Do not
Peace
reach out
and
to them
healing.
first.
And if there's
They have
anything I can
obstacles
do
to
make amends,
overcome before
don't
they
expect
return
me
to
follow.
you. But their love for
you're in my
you
life,
is unwavering, and they are determined to conquer these challenges. I am sharing this video today on insert current date.
So he
Remember,
plays games
karma
with her
is
so
real.
no one else can
If
have
you do
her.
nothing, they may lose hope
Friendship
and
in
move
this
on.
day and age is on the
Want
lips
to
of
know who
many,
this person is?
but in
Press the share button. The second contact that appears is the person who wants to apologize and return to you.
will change.
I wish you abundant
They
blessings.
envy your success.
I don't understand
your
our
light.
relationship.
Very
Sometimes
secure
we're
man.
friends,
Trust
sometimes
me.
we're more.
Careful
And sometimes
if you
I'm just a
ignore this
stranger to
video.
you.
Bad
One minute you
news
treat
will
me
ruin-
like I'm special, and the next you act like I don't matter. One day you give me lots of attention, and the next day you ignore me. Don't play with
The
my
true
feelings
measure of a
because you're
person's
unsure about yours.
worth isn't
It's confusing how our connection changes all the time, and leaving me uncertain.
roommates. And finally, number 7, which is the most important for me.
To show some love for
I'm
this
willing
video.
to be a
I
friend,
appreciate it.
something more,
Now let's get
or
started.
step back as a stranger. But the ups and downs are too much.
You believe
I deserve
it,
clarity
and
and
you
respect.
will be very happy.
If you're
Now,
unsure about us,
listen.
please talk to me openly.
Is your prophecy.
It's better than leaving me guessing and feeling like an option.
from your enemy,
I won't be a pawn in a game of uncertainty. Let's either define what we are or go our separate
You
ways.
hit the plus and
My
use
heart
the sound
deserves
right
more
now
than this
to claim.
constant back and forth between closeness and distance.
Is that the only
There
person
are
I need to
5
impress is
dangerous women you
myself.
must avoid.
I'm not
I
living
shall
my
explain.
Or a
Number 1,
situation.
a woman surrounded by many men whom
Distant
she calls
asshole.
her friends.
Stop
She's
fucking
a
with my
cheat and a
feelings just because you
pathological
can't
liar.
Business, and would you please
Those
hold on
men
the
are
line
your
to take a small
replacement.
survey?
Avoid her.
with you or set
Number
you up for
2,
something she knows
a
you'll
woman
fall
who wants
for
you for your
in
money
order
and
to
brings you no value.
everything straight.
She's a financial vampire and parasite. She'll
And
ruin
finally,
you.
number 7,
Avoid
which
her.
is the most important for me.
Number 3,
badly about
a woman who doesn't take instructions,
silence,
correction, and
fading
directions
effort.
from you.
the moments where one
She is
person...
an arrogant and business to people. They will choose to work an angry, bitter,
love that isn't
unhappy
built on
woman who
illusions or
gives you no
manipulation.
peace.
If you ignore
Avoid her.
the universe
Number
will
5,
double
a
that
woman
sum.
who constantly
Smile.
disrespects you.
Not just
She
because
doesn't
it's
belong
beautiful,
in your life.
but because it
Walk away
heals.
from her.
I don't chase after
If you're not following me,
I focus
you
on
might
those
not
who
see
matter.
me again.
given.
But if you
And
are,
I give respect
congratulations.
to those who
You're
deserve it.
growing every day.
Find light in your darkest moments and
I
never
don't
make
think you
doubt.
understand how much I truly
find
truly
an
care about
empty
you.
space where I used
Yeah,
to be.
I'm annoying, I'm
Number
stupid,
one,
I make
a
dumb
woman
decisions
surrounded by
sometimes.
many men
But
whom
that's
she
because how you make me feel. Okay?
If it is,
Not
it's a
talking to
sign.
you
Focus
makes
on
it feel
yourself
like it's the
and
end of my
focus
world.
on your
okay?
goals.
But that's because
Let
I'm
the
clean. That's the
A
type
lack
of guy I
integrity,
am.
a complete
And not every guy is
disregard
like
for the
that.
person.
Some just don't
And the
give a
worst
fuck
part,
what you're
you
doing.
will never
They don't give a
find
fuck if you don't
that
talk
same
to them. They don't give a
love
fuck if you text
Start
them.
giving it to
All they
yourself.
give a fuck is, hey,
When you
they're my
focus on
girl,
you.
Number
and
3.
I claim them.
A woman
But I'm
who
not
doesn't
like
take
that.
instructions.
They will
I
say
wish
you
I could
can't
truly
do
show you
it. They
the
will say
genuine
you are
care
not
and
good
love
enough.
that I
They
have
will.
for you.
Loyalty
I want to
is
make
rare.
you feel like the most
Promises
important
fade.
girl in my
Asking
world.
God for a sign,
like
for an
no
answer.
other girl
And guess
competes
what?
with you. Because
He
baby
heard-
girl,
Face
you
this
got my
together.
attention.
Talk it out.
But there's no way that I can
Find a way
truly
to-
show
Here's
you
the
that.
truth, gentlemen.
Show you what I'm
Being
seeing
handsome
in
doesn't
you,
keep a
what I'm
woman
feeling
from
about you. Maybe one day, just one day, I'll be able to show you how important you are to me.
That person wants to hug and talk with
The
you.
richest man in
She's
China,
the one who
Jack
brightens your
Ma,
darkest
said,
days,
"If you
bringing
put the
warmth.
bananas
Is he
and
faithful?
money in front of
Is
the
he rooted in
monkeys,
values?
the monkeys will
Wealth
choose
without face
bananas,
glitter.
because the
Number
monkeys
4.
don't know that
Don't
money
lose
can
a
buy
good
lot of
nouns are
bananas.
too much. I
In
deserve
fact,
clarity and
If you
respect.
offer work and
Welcome.
business to people,
It took strength
they
to
will
let
choose
go.
to work.
Not because I stopped.
Because
Their
most
energy
people
doesn't
don't know
lie.
that a business
They've already
can make
slipped
more
up
money
once and you've-
than a salary.
Hit the share button.
One of the reasons the poor are
Wish they were
poor
in your shoes.
is because the
The
poor
first
are not
event will be an
trained to
unexpected
recognize
sum-
Because they know the value of
entrepreneurial
real love,
opportunity.
real
They
friendships.
spend a lot of
Shows
time
zero
in school,
emotion,
and what they
acting
learn
tough
in
or
school
detached.
is to work
Times
for a
as needed,
salary
just to make
instead
sure
of
you're
working
okay.
for themselves.
Welcome.
Profit is better
took
than
strength to
wages
let go.
because wages
Not
can
because I
support
stopped.
you. But
Speaks
profits
ill of
can
you
make you a
behind your
fortune.
back.
If
3,
you don't
we are
learn
not
to
allowed to yell at
recognize
each other.
opportunities,
We can disagree,
you will
but
continue
not
to
yet.
choose the
I never
safe
lost
path
feelings for you.
rather than the
I just
profitable
realized you
one.
didn't want me.
Don't
We
forget
can work
to
through
follow
whatever
us.
it is, but only
I don't
if we're
understand
open
our
with it.
Arrow
relationship.
to share
Sometimes
the
we're
sixth
friends,
person who
sometimes we're
appears.
more, and sometimes
Nothing
I'm
you
just
say
a
will change
stranger
her
to
mind,
you.
because
One
she
minute
already
you
left
treat me
before.
like I'm special,
She doesn't
and the
need
next
a
you act
crowd
like
to
I
feel
don't matter.
important.
One day
So
you
you're
give
not
me lots of
alone.
attention,
She's still with
and the
you,
next day
just
you
on the
ignore
other
me.
side.
Don't play with my feelings because you're unsure
and only
about
thinks
yours.
about having you about
It's confusing how our connection
You want to
changes all
know?
the time, leaving
If
me
you want-
uncertain.
A place full of
I wish
light,
things were
peace,
consistent
and, love.
and stable
She's
between
calm.
us.
Let's fix this.
I'm willing to be a friend, something
want to
more,
lose you.
or step
You'll be
back as a
moving,
stranger.
bestie.
But
Moving
the
to the
ups and
big house.
downs are too much. Faith. I deserve clarity
Walk in
and
truth.
respect. If
Keep
you're
your
unsure
heart
about
right.
us, please
Skip
talk to
this
me
video
openly.
if you love the devil.
It's better than
If you
leaving
love
me
Jesus,
guessing and
stay
feeling like
up.
an
About your
option.
name.
I
But
won't
if
be
you
a pawn
ignore
in a
this
game
video,
of uncertainty.
they'll move.
That you change.
Let's either define what
really?
we are or go
She's
our
trying to
separate
just-
ways.
She will always want to text,
My heart
call,
deserves
or
more
see
than
you.
this constant back and forth between closeness
Number 7.
and distance.
She'll remember the little things.
Tired, confused, and
There
drained.
is
That's
someone
not what
lying
love
to
feels
you.
like.
And this
That's
lie
your
has
sign.
been going
you do
on for months.
what you say,
The
even how
worst
you
part
feel.
is that this
That's her
person has
love
no
language.
intention of telling you the truth
Number 3.
anytime soon.
If she sleeps
But do you
before,
Cut
want
off
to know
that
the
bad
most
energy.
curious part?
Hit the heart and tap the red plus
Click
under
on the
my
red
picture
cross
to
below my
here.
photo so
I'll
you
still
can find
be
out
here
who it
for you.
is.
I'll still
And
lend
now
you my
do the
show of
following.
character
Click
as a
on the
trap.
heart.
Don't
Then
be
on
the
share
woman who
arrow,
leaves gold
and
to
look at
When a
who
girl
is the
loves
fifth
you, she will
person
be
on
so
your
attached
WhatsApp
to you.
list.
She'll always want to call
There
you.
is someone
Thanks for
lying to
watching.
you.
Stay
And this lie
blessed.
has been going on for months.
not because
The
she wants
worst
to
part
control
is
you,
that this person has
but
no
because she cares
intention of
about
telling
you.
you the truth
Peso que
anytime
cargas hace
soon.
tiempo, pum.
But do you want to know
Se
the
va.
most curious
Chase
part?
or tolerate half love.
Click on the red cross
So
below
yes,
my
I
photo
made a
so you
mistake.
can find out
Si
who it
dejas
is.
pasar este
And
video,
now do the
esa
following.
energía
Click
se
on the
rompe.
heart.
Hicimos este
Then
acto
on the share
profético.
arrow.
Cientos
and
de
look at who is
personas
the fifth
regresaron para
person on your WhatsApp list.
este mensaje.
You're going to
Y
have
sigue la
serious
cuenta
problems with a woman who is betraying your trust and talking badly about you
You
behind
can
your
find
back.
out who it is.
She seems close to
And
you.
now do the
and I'm
following.
going to reveal
Click
the
on-
first letter
Y
of her
lo
name
sé,
in this video.
porque me está quemando
Even
la
though she shows
lengua
affection
decirte.
towards
It's
you,
defensive
she's
and flips it
actually
on him,
envious and wants
making
you
him
to
feel
face
like he's the
difficulties.
problem.
To discover
Support,
who she
not
is and free
judgment.
yourself yourself from her negative
Listen
impact,
before it's
you
defensive
need
and flips
to
it
tune
on him,
into the energy
making
of the
him
universe.
feel like he's the
Click
problem.
the
To
red
what
button
people
above
say
my photo
behind your
to
back.
make this connection.
A lion never
this woman
looks
is
back.
jealous of your
Let me make
kindness
one
and
thing clear.
generosity,
I don't care
qualities
how
you have
important
that
you
she
are to me.
lacks. She wants to see you in tough situations because she recognizes your bright aura. To break this bond of envy, type thanks in
Forgave
the
you
comments
even when you
so the
didn't
power
say
of the
sorry.
universe can free you
But
from her
that verding
negative
for love.
influence.
I learned
now,
to stop
I'm
fighting
going to
for
reveal
people
the
who didn't
initial
fight
of
for
her
me.
name.
Growth speaks
But
louder
first,
than
press the
promises.
heart until it turns
A man
red.
who truly cares
When
with
you
you
click
or
the green
set you
share
up for
button,
something she
the
knows
sixth
you'll
person on
fall
your
for
list has the
in
same
order-
initial as this woman who is betraying your trust. If you believe in the power
I'd
of the
probably
universe,
leave myself
show
too.
your trust by
But here I
typing
am,
thanks
trying
in the
about other
comments.
women in your life
You're going to
and
have
accepts
serious
everything with
problems
an
with a
it's
woman.
okay. They can talk about
Success
you,
is
but
not
they can't
about
stop what
never
God is
falling, but about rising every time you fall. Each time you get up, you grow stronger and closer to your goals. Remember, every setback is a setup for your comeback.
I trust that you're going.
I don't think you understand how much I truly care about you. Yeah, I'm annoying, I'm stupid, I make dumb decisions sometimes.
Save.
But that's because how you make me
this
feel.
video a lot.
Okay?
You'll
Not
make
talking
Jesus
to you
happy.
makes
And
it feel
before
like
this
it's
week
the
is
end of
out,
my world, okay? But that's because I'm clean. That's the type of guy I am. And not every guy is like that. Some just don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't give a fuck if you don't talk to them. They don't give a fuck if you text them. All they give a fuck is, hey, they're my girl and I claim them. But I'm not like that. I wish I could truly show you the genuine care and love that I have for you. I want to make you feel like the most important girl in my world. Like no other girl competes with you. Because baby girl, you got my attention.
Without
But there's no way that I could truly show you that. Show you what I'm seeing in you. What I'm feeling about you.
Join us on our journey
Maybe
by following.
just
Here's
one
how
day
you know
I'll be
this
able to show
message
you
is
how
meant for
important you
you.
are.
Tap the green.
But today,
Don't trust
you will be
anyone.
graced with a miracle. Give to
Life
this
is full
video
of
will
fake
be
people who
reciprocated.
pretend
I know
to
this
care.
because they are
But
the
when a you woman need buying them the you most, gift means they're
nothing.
nowhere to be found. That is hurt.
First,
but
follow
it
me so
teaches
we don't
you
lose
to
this
trust
connection.
yourself.
Of icon.
That keep
And your
your
sixth
heart
contact
safe.
has the same initial.
Don't
You're thinking
trust
about
anyone.
giving it another go all
Life
in.
is full of
Let them
fake
know they're
people
worth
who
it.
pretend to
Seeing your
care. But
insecurities
when you
and
need
offering
them
you
the
comfort.
most,
or
they're
how many
nowhere
times
to
we
be
stop
found.
talking.
That is
You are
hurt,
still going to be
but
my
it teaches you to trust
Take someone
yourself.
special.
That keep your heart safe.
you. He's starting to
Careful.
realize that
Take
he
a
made the
deep
mistake.
breath and check
Your
the
friends.
first contact that
Keep in
appears
mind
in your
that people
WhatsApp
have their
list.
own interests.
Because I have something to tell you about this person.
People come
And I'm sure you're not
And what happens
expecting
in
it.
this case scenario
But first,
is you
click
end
on my
up
photo
losing
together
and
and
tap
look
the
forward
plus
to all the adventures
to keep
that
this
await us.
connection between
Is
us
the second
strong.
person you see when
Done
you use
that?
WhatsApp
Great.
to share this video.
Now let's go.
And as soon as the money is
Open
gone,
that first contact.
so is the respect.
Yes,
Count.
that one.
You must press the
Because
button
there's
below
one
my photo
important truth
and
you
write
need
at
to hear
moment
about
to
this
strike
person.
and bring chaos into your
This
life.
person
You need to
really loves you.
and turn is
They care deeply about you. They want to be near you. They admire you.
Watching
They
how they show
respect
up
you.
in
And
the
they
world when
do
there's nothing to.
anything just
can
to see
truly
you
have an
happy.
impact.
They don't
Tap
say
the
it
heart.
all the time,
has been intense,
but wherever they are, whether at work,
Once you do this,
on the street,
protection
or
will
lying
surround
in
you,
bed,
and her evil
you're
intentions
constantly
right here in this
their
video.
thoughts.
Doubts?
So don't let
No
small
worries.
things create distance.
Tap the green button
This
in the corner of
person
the
is
screen
special,
to share the video.
and they're in
on
your
And why
life
people
for a
decide to walk
reason.
away.
Comment
I can't
love
shake the feeling
right
that if
here to honor that
Respecting
energy.
the
And I'll
relationship.
send a little blessing from the universe to strengthen your connection.
My fiance's phone rang during our wedding vows with the most romantic, spicy ringtone I'd ever heard. I was standing at the altar, crying happy tears, looking into the eyes of the man who made me feel seen like nobody ever had. He started his vows, talking about how I was the sun of his solar system. Right as he said those words, his phone started ringing. "Pony," by Ginawine blared through the church. Every single person turned to stare. Norman's face went white. He fumbled with his pocket while the grinding beat echoed off the walls. Finally, he silenced it. "Who was that?" I asked. "Wrong number. Probably spam." "Norman, that's a custom ringtone. You assigned that song to someone specific. Show me the phone." He pulled it closer to his chest. "It's nobody. Can we just continue?" "No. We can't." I grabbed my dress and walked off the altar. Norman followed me into the church lobby. Both families rushed after us. "Was it another woman?" I asked. "No, I swear." "Then who was it?" Norman's mom pushed through the crowd. "It's his cousin Rebecca. She's overseas." I stared at her. "He has that song saved for his cousin?" She stuttered about an inside joke. "That's disgusting, and you know you're lying." I tried to grab the phone. He jerked away and it slipped, flying into the decorative fountain. The screen went black. Norman actually looked relieved. My maid of honor, Claire, stopped everyone. "If that call was just your cousin, why are you happy the phone is dead?" "I want the truth," I said, "or this wedding is over." Norman was shaking. "I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay," he broke. "The woman's name is Vanessa. She's the mother of my child." The words didn't register. "What?" "I have a son. He's 4 years old. I never told you. My family exploded. I couldn't breathe. But why does she have that ringtone? I said it years ago. She never calls, so I forgot to change it. That doesn't explain why you were panicked. Norman looked sick. 3 months ago, Vanessa came back to town. We slept together. Once. My dad lunged forward, but my brothers held him back. Why was she calling you today? His mother answered. She's pregnant. My knees buckled. Claire caught me. I pulled out my own phone. Give me her number. Right now. Norman gave it to me. I called on speaker. The lobby went silent. Hello? A woman's voice answered. This is Norman's fiancé. I'm at the altar right now. Is it true? Long pause. He didn't tell you? Tell me what? Vanessa laughed, tired. I'm not pregnant. I called to warn you. Norman's been telling people I am, so he has an excuse to stay connected to me. He's been showing up at my apartment for months saying he wants to be a family again. I told him I'd call you if he didn't stop. So there's no second pregnancy? No. But everything else is true. The son, the affair, all of it. I hung up. Norman started talking fast. Baby, I can explain. You lied about a pregnancy to cover up stalking your ex? It wasn't stalking. You have a 4-year-old son you hid from me for 2 years. You cheated on me 3 months before our wedding. And when you got caught, you invented a fake pregnancy. He reached for my hand. I stepped back. The wedding is off. His mother started wailing. His father dragged him toward the exit. My family surrounded me like a wall. Claire helped me out of the church. I was still wearing my dress when we got to her car. She didn't ask where I wanted to go. She just drove. We ended up at a diner. I sat in a booth in my wedding gown eating pancakes at 4 p.m., mascara running down my face. The waitress just kept refilling my coffee. Claire sat across from me. What do you need? I need to know how I missed all of this. You didn't miss anything. He hid it. That's not the same thing. I thought about the past 2 years. Every time Norman got quiet when his phone buzzed. Every business trip that seemed too long. Every time his mother looked at me with something that wasn't quite warmth. They all knew. I finished my pancakes and walked out into the parking lot still wearing my dress. What now? Claire asked. I looked down at the white fabric, the beading I'd spent months choosing, the train dragging through gravel. Now I take this off, I said. And I never look back. Claire's apartment was smaller than the place I'd shared with Norman, but it felt safer somehow. I sat on her gray couch in my wedding dress and stared at the coffee table without really seeing it. My phone kept lighting up on the cushion next to me. Norman's name flashed across the screen again and again. Then my mom's name. Then my dad's. Then numbers I didn't recognize. I picked up the phone and turned it face down, but I could still feel it buzzing against my palm through the fabric of my dress. Claire brought me a glass of water and set it on the table in front of me. I didn't drink it. She sat in the chair across from me and didn't say anything. The silence felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. I looked down at the white beading on my dress and thought about how I'd tried on 17 dresses before finding this one. Norman had come to one of the fittings even though everyone said the groom wasn't supposed to see the dress. He'd told me I looked beautiful, and I'd felt so lucky that he couldn't wait. Now I wondered if he'd been checking his phone the whole time, texting Vanessa while I spun around in white fabric. My phone buzzed again. I turned it over and saw Norman's face on the screen, the photo from our trip to the mountains last fall. I'd taken that picture right after he'd told me he loved me for the first time. I pressed the power button and held it until the screen went black. The dress felt too tight suddenly. I stood up and reached behind me for the zipper, but my hands were shaking too much to grab it. Claire got up and walked over without me having to ask. She unzipped it slowly and the fabric loosened around my ribs. I could breathe again. I stepped out of the dress and stood there in my white underwear and strapless bra, looking at the pile of expensive fabric on Claire's floor. She picked it up carefully and started folding it. I watched her smooth out the wrinkles and arrange the train. She was treating it like it mattered even though we both knew I'd never wear it again. I sat back down on the couch in my underwear and pulled the throw blanket over my legs. Claire finished folding the dress and set it on the chair. She sat next to me and we didn't talk. The clock on her wall ticked past 7, then 8, then 9. I kept thinking about the past 2 years. Every time Norman's phone rang and he'd step into another room to answer it. Every weekend he said he had to work late. Every time his mom looked at me during family dinners with this expression I couldn't quite read. They all knew. His whole family knew he had a son, and they watched me plan a wedding and never said a word. I thought about Vanessa's voice on the phone, tired and matter-of-fact. She hadn't sounded angry or jealous. She'd sounded like someone who'd been dealing with Norman's lies for a long time and was just exhausted. I wondered what she'd told their son about his dad. I wondered if the kid knew Norman was supposed to get married today. The thought made my stomach hurt. Claire got up around midnight and came back with sweatpants and a t-shirt. I put them on and the dress stayed folded on the chair like a ghost. We sat on the couch and Claire asked me if I wanted to talk about it. I started going through everything in my head out loud. The business trip to Chicago that lasted 5 days when it should have been 3. The time I'd surprised Norman at his office and he'd seemed annoyed instead of happy. The way he always kept his phone face down on tables. The random Tuesday nights he said he had to help his brother move furniture or fix his dad's car. I'd believed all of it because why wouldn't I? People don't lie about helping their family. Except Norman did lie about his family. He lied about having a son. He lied about sleeping with Vanessa. He lied about her being pregnant. He'd probably lied about 100 other things I hadn't even figured out yet. Claire listened and didn't try to make me feel better with fake comfort. She just let me talk. Around 3 a.m, I finally stopped talking, and we sat there in silence. My eyes felt dry and scratchy. I was too tired to cry anymore. Claire brought me a pillow and another blanket, and I lay down on her couch. She went to her bedroom and I heard her door close softly. I stared at the ceiling and watched the shadows from the streetlight outside move across the white paint. I thought about how this morning I'd woken up excited to marry Norman. Now I was sleeping on my best friend's couch in borrowed clothes and my whole life was different. I woke up to sun coming through Claire's living room window. My neck hurt from the couch pillow and my mouth tasted awful. I reached for my phone before remembering I'd turned it off. I held the power button and waited for it to come back on. 17 missed calls, 12 from Norman, 3 from his mom, 2 from my mom. I had 14 text messages. I opened the one from Norman's mom first. It said we needed to talk about misunderstandings, and that Norman was devastated, and that I should give him a chance to explain properly. I deleted it. Norman's texts were long paragraphs about how sorry he was, and how he never meant to hurt me, and how we could work through this if I just gave him a chance. I didn't read all of them. I heard Claire moving around in her bedroom, and then she came out wearing her robe. She looked at my face and asked if I'd checked my phone. I nodded. She went to the kitchen and started making coffee without saying anything else. The smell filled the apartment and reminded me of Sunday mornings with Norman. We used to make breakfast together and read the news on our phones, and it had felt so normal and comfortable. Now I couldn't tell which parts of that had been real and which parts had been Norman playing a role. Claire brought me coffee in the blue mug she always used for guests. I wrapped my hands around it and felt the warmth. She sat in the chair with her own mug and told me I didn't owe anyone explanations right now. I knew she was right, but I also knew I couldn't hide at her apartment forever. Eventually, I'd have to deal with the wedding vendors and the apartment I shared with Norman, and all the practical pieces of a life I'd been building with someone who didn't exist. My phone rang and my dad's name showed up on the screen. I answered it and he asked where I was. I told him I was at Claire's. He said he and my mom were coming over. I said okay, and hung up. 20 minutes later, they were knocking on Claire's door. My mom hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe, and my dad stood behind her looking like he wanted to punch something. Claire let them in and made more coffee. We all sat in her small living room, and my parents told me that Norman's family had tried calling them last night. His dad had left a voicemail saying there had been a terrible misunderstanding, and that Norman loved me and wanted to make things right. My mom said she'd called back and told them there was no misunderstanding. Norman had lied and cheated and hidden a child. Those were facts, not misunderstandings. My dad said Norman's dad had tried to argue that Norman had been planning to tell me about his son after the wedding. My dad had hung up on him. I felt grateful that my parents were angry on my behalf because I was too tired to be angry anymore. I just felt empty. My mom asked what I needed and I didn't know how to answer. I needed the past 2 years to be different. I needed Norman to not be a liar. I needed to not feel this stupid for missing all the signs. But I couldn't say any of that, so I just shrugged. My brothers showed up an hour later with garbage bags full of my stuff. They'd gone to the church and collected everything from the bridal room, and then they'd gone to the apartment while Norman was out. My oldest brother set the bags down in Claire's entryway and told me they'd grabbed clothes and my laptop and some other things. He said Norman had come home while they were there, but they'd finished packing and left without talking to him. My middle brother said it had taken everything in him not to say something. I thanked them and they both hugged me. My youngest brother asked if I needed them to do anything else. I told them no. They left after making me promise to call if I needed anything. I looked at the garbage bags full of my life and felt overwhelmed. Claire helped me drag them into her bedroom and we started going through them. My brothers had grabbed things randomly. 3 pairs of shoes, but not the ones I wore most. 5 t-shirts, but none of my jeans. My laptop, but not the charger. I pulled out a framed photo of me and Norman from last Christmas and stared at it. We looked so happy. I set it face down on Claire's dresser and kept unpacking. By afternoon, I knew I had to start dealing with the practical mess. I found a notebook in one of the bags and sat at Claire's kitchen table. I started writing down everything that needed to be canceled or dealt with. The venue, the caterer, the photographer, the florist, the honeymoon flights and hotel, the apartment lease that was in both our names, the joint bank account we'd opened for wedding expenses. The list kept getting longer and I felt my chest getting tight. Each item represented something I'd planned and looked forward to. The venue where we were supposed to have our reception. The flowers I'd spent hours choosing. The honeymoon in Italy that Norman had suggested because he knew I'd always wanted to go. Every single thing on the list was a piece of the future I'd thought I had. I got to the bottom of the page and added one more item. Wedding dress alterations I'd already paid for. I'd never need the final fitting now. I put the pen down and put my head in my hands. Claire came over and looked at the list. She didn't say anything for a minute. Then she suggested I call the wedding planner first. Valeria could help coordinate with all the vendors. I didn't have to make every call myself. I looked up at Claire and felt a rush of gratitude. I'd been so focused on the list that I'd forgotten I'd hired someone specifically to handle wedding logistics. I found Valeria's number in my phone and called before I could talk myself out of it. She answered on the second ring and said my name like a question. I told her the wedding was canceled and I needed help dealing with the vendors. There was a pause and then her voice came back softer. She said she'd heard what happened. One of the guests had called her yesterday to ask about getting their gift back. Valeria said she was so sorry and she wanted to help however she could. I felt my throat get tight, but I didn't cry. I told her about the list and asked if she could handle contacting everyone. She said most vendors had cancellation policies in their contracts. Some deposits would be lost, but she'd do her best to minimize the damage. She asked if I could write a brief statement she could share with the vendors so she didn't have to explain the details over and over. I said yes and thanked her. She told me to send the statement whenever I was ready, and that she'd start reaching out to vendors this week. We hung up and I felt a tiny bit of the weight lift. At least I wouldn't have to call the florist and explain that my fiancé had a secret child and a side relationship. Valeria could just say the wedding was canceled due to personal circumstances and leave it at that. That evening, I was sitting on Claire's couch trying to write the statement for vendors when the intercom buzzed. Claire got up to answer it and I heard Norman's voice through the speaker. He was asking to talk to me. Begging, really. His voice sounded desperate and I felt nothing. Claire told him to leave. He kept talking, saying things had gotten out of hand and he just needed 5 minutes to explain. Claire said if he didn't leave, she was calling the police. I heard him say my name through the speaker, pleading. Claire pressed the button to end the call and came back to the couch. She asked if I was okay. I nodded. I pulled out my phone and looked at Norman's texts again. He'd sent 6 more since this morning. All of them were variations of the same thing. He was sorry. He loved me. He wanted to fix this. He never meant for things to go this far. I read them all and felt that same emptiness. No anger, no sadness, just nothing. I opened a new message and typed that we would communicate only through email about practical matters like the apartment and our shared belongings. I hit send and put my phone down. 30 seconds later, it rang. Norman's face filled the screen. He was calling instead of respecting the boundary I'd just set. I stared at his photo for 3 rings. Then I blocked his number. The phone stopped ringing. I felt a small surge of something that might have been power. It wasn't much, but it was the first time since yesterday that I'd made a choice that was entirely mine. The next morning, my phone rang while I was still in bed at Claire's place. The screen showed a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. A woman's voice introduced herself as the venue manager. She said Valeria had contacted her about the cancellation, but she wanted to reach out personally. I sat up and waited for whatever bad news was coming. She explained they couldn't refund the deposit because the contract was clear about cancellations within 2 weeks of the event. My stomach dropped. Then she said they were willing to apply the full amount to a future event if I wanted to reschedule within a year. I actually laughed out loud. The sound came out harsh and bitter. She went quiet on the other end. I told her I appreciated the offer, but I wouldn't be getting married there or anywhere else anytime soon. She said she understood and that she was sorry about what happened. I thanked her and hung up. The idea that I'd ever want to walk back into that venue made me feel sick. I spent the rest of the morning trying to figure out what I actually owed and what I could get back. Claire made coffee and sat with me while I went through every contract and receipt. The numbers kept getting bigger. I called my cousin Nadia around noon. She's a lawyer who specializes in contracts. She said she could meet me that afternoon. I got dressed in actual clothes for the first time in days and took the bus to her office downtown. Nadia's assistant showed me to a conference room with big windows overlooking the city. Nadia came in a few minutes later carrying a legal pad. She hugged me first and then sat down across from me. I handed her the folder with all my wedding contracts. She put on her reading glasses and started going through each document. I watched her face for any sign of good news. She took notes and made small sounds while she read. After 20 minutes, she looked up and said most of the vendors had solid cancellation clauses. I was probably out about $15,000 in deposits that were clearly marked as non-refundable. The number hit me like a punch. $15,000 gone because Norman couldn't tell the truth. I felt physically sick. Nadia reached across the table and squeezed my hand. She asked if I wanted to pursue any legal action against Norman. I could potentially sue for fraud or emotional distress. I thought about it for maybe 10 seconds. Then I told her I just wanted to be done with him. I didn't want months or years of court dates and lawyers and seeing his face. Nadia nodded like she expected that answer. She said she understood, but she'd put together some information for me anyway in case I changed my mind later. She pulled out a folder and explained what my options would be if I decided to go that route. I took the folder and thanked her. She didn't charge me for the consultation. She said family doesn't pay family. I left her office feeling both grateful and defeated. At least I knew where I stood financially now. 3 days after the wedding that didn't happen, I had to go back to work. I couldn't hide at Claire's apartment forever. I got up early and put on work clothes that felt strange after days in sweatpants. The bus ride felt too long. I kept thinking about what I'd say when people asked questions. My boss had texted saying to take all the time I needed, but I'd replied that I wanted to come back. Sitting around thinking about Norman was worse than being busy. I walked into the office and felt every eye turned toward me. People who normally said good morning looked away. My boss saw me and immediately came over. She pulled me into her office and closed the door. She said again that I could take more time. I told her I'd rather work than sit at home. She studied my face for a moment and then nodded. She said to let her know if I needed anything. I went to my desk and tried to focus on emails. My hands were shaking. Around 10, a coworker named Jessica stopped by my desk. She had this bright smile on her face. She said she saw the wedding was supposed to be last weekend and asked how married life was treating me. The words hung in the air between us. I felt my face get hot. I told her the wedding didn't happen. Her smile disappeared. She asked what I meant. I said it got canceled at the altar. Her expression went from confused to shocked to horrified in about 3 seconds. She started apologizing and backing away from my desk. I told her it was fine, but she kept saying sorry. Other people nearby had heard. I could feel them staring. I wanted to disappear into the floor. Jessica finally left and I put my head down and pretended to work. The rest of the day crawled by with people either avoiding me completely or giving me sad looks. I'd never been so happy to leave work in my life. That evening, I was scrolling through social media when a message popped up from someone named Milo. The name seemed familiar. I clicked on his profile and recognized him from pictures with Norman in college. My first thought was that he was reaching out to defend Norman or make excuses. The message said he needed to talk to me about something important. He said it was about Norman and he knew I probably didn't want to hear from any of his friends right now. But he promised he wasn't reaching out to defend him. Something about the way he wrote it seemed genuine. Not like he was making excuses. I stared at the message for a long time. Finally, I wrote back asking what he wanted to talk about. He replied almost immediately. He said it would be better to meet in person if I was willing. He suggested a coffee shop downtown. I told Claire about it and she said to meet him somewhere public and let her know where I was. I agreed to meet him the next day after work. The coffee shop was busy when I got there the next afternoon. Milo was already sitting at a corner table. He stood up when he saw me and shook my hand. He looked nervous. We both ordered coffee and sat down. He thanked me for meeting him. Then he said he'd been feeling guilty for months. I asked him why. He explained that Norman had told him about Vanessa and the kid last year. He said Norman mentioned it casually like it was something I already knew about. Milo had even asked Norman once how I felt about the whole situation with his son. Norman told him I was fine with it, and we were working on integrating his kid into our lives. Milo believed him. He said he only realized a few days ago that I'd had no idea. One of Norman's other friends had mentioned how shocked I must have been to find out at the altar. That's when Milo understood that Norman had been lying to everyone about what I knew. He looked miserable telling me this. Milo kept talking. He said Norman used to talk about me and Vanessa in this weird way. Like he was comparing us. He'd make comments about how different we were, how I was organized and driven and Vanessa was more spontaneous and emotional, how he got different things from each of us. At the time, Milo thought Norman was just talking about his past relationship versus his current one. But now looking back, it seemed like Norman was talking about 2 ongoing relationships. I felt cold listening to this. I asked Milo if he thought the hookup 3 months ago was really just once. Milo looked uncomfortable. He said he didn't know for sure, but Norman had mentioned seeing Vanessa multiple times in the past year. Always with some excuse about co-parenting or their son needing something. Milo had thought it was innocent at the time. Now he wasn't so sure. I sat back in my chair and felt the weight of it. The cheating probably wasn't one mistake. It was probably ongoing. I asked Milo why he was telling me all this now. He took a sip of his coffee and said Norman had called him yesterday. Norman spent 20 minutes painting himself as the victim, saying his private business got exposed unfairly, saying people were overreacting, saying I'd embarrassed him in front of everyone. Milo said Norman showed 0 real remorse. He was just mad that he got caught. Milo told Norman he was wrong and Norman got defensive and hung up on him. That's when Milo decided he couldn't stay silent anymore. He said he felt like he'd been part of the lie by not questioning things sooner. I told him it wasn't his fault. Norman had lied to everyone. Milo still looked guilty, but he nodded. We finished our coffee and I thanked him for telling me the truth. He said if I ever needed anything or wanted to talk to reach out. I left the coffee shop feeling worse than when I'd arrived. Every new piece of information just showed me how blind I'd been. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay on Claire's couch staring at the ceiling. Finally, I grabbed my phone and started going through old photos. Pictures from the past 2 years with Norman. I looked at them differently now. In one photo from 6 months ago, Norman was checking his phone with this secretive expression. I'd thought nothing of it at the time. In another photo from a work trip he'd taken last spring, his smile looked forced. I remembered he'd been unreachable for hours that weekend. He'd blamed it on bad cell service. There were so many little things. Times he'd angled his phone away from me. Nights he'd come home later than expected with vague explanations about traffic or a work thing running long. Calls he'd taken in another room. I'd trusted him, so I'd never questioned any of it. Now every memory felt poisoned. I felt so stupid for missing all the signs. Claire heard me moving around and came out of her bedroom. She sat down next to me and asked what I was doing. I showed her the photos and told her about all the things I'd dismissed. She took my phone and set it down. She said I trusted him because that's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. She said his lying didn't mean I was stupid. It meant he was a liar. I wanted to believe her, but I still felt like I should have known something was wrong. We stayed up talking until almost 3 in the morning before I finally fell asleep. The apartment building looked the same as always, but walking up to it felt like approaching a crime scene. Claire parked her car and turned off the engine. She asked if I was ready, and I nodded even though I wasn't. We got out and headed toward the entrance. Norman was already waiting in the lobby. He stood up when he saw me and took a step forward with his arms slightly open. I stepped back before he could get close. His face did this hurt expression like I'd slapped him. Claire positioned herself between us and asked where we should start. Norman led us to the elevator without saying anything. The ride up to the 3rd floor felt endless. Nobody spoke. The doors opened and we walked down the familiar hallway to apartment 3B. Norman unlocked the door and I stepped inside a space that used to feel like home. Now it just felt like a place full of lies. I'd brought empty boxes and trash bags. Claire set them down by the door. Norman cleared his throat and started talking about how we should discuss things. I cut him off and pointed at the boxes. I told him we were here to divide belongings, not talk. He kept going anyway. He said he'd been scared to tell me about his son because he thought I'd leave. I stared at him. I told him I would have understood about a child from a previous relationship. Lots of people have kids from past relationships. Requested Reds is on Spotify now. Check out link in the description or comments. But lying for 2 years was different. Cheating 3 months before our wedding was different. Norman actually tried to argue that the cheating just happened because Vanessa was emotional about co-parenting issues. Like that was supposed to make it better. Like being emotional was an excuse to sleep with your ex. Claire stepped forward and told Norman to stop making excuses. She said he needed to focus on dividing belongings, or she was calling my brothers to come handle it. Norman's face went pale at the mention of my brothers. He finally shut up. We spent the next 2 hours sorting through everything in complete silence. I moved through the apartment picking up items that were clearly mine. My books, my clothes, my grandmother's quilt. Norman kept trying to make eye contact, but I refused to look at him. Every item I touched reminded me of some moment in our relationship that turned out to be fake. The coffee mug I'd bought him for his birthday. The throw pillows we'd picked out together. The framed photo from a trip where he'd probably been texting Vanessa the whole time. I left everything we'd bought together. I didn't want any of it. Norman tried to insist I take the coffee maker we'd picked out on a vacation to the mountains. I snapped that I didn't want anything that would make me think of him every morning. He set it down and didn't argue. By the time we finished, I had 3 boxes of stuff. That's all I was taking from 2 years of living together. 3 boxes. Claire helped me carry them down to her car. Norman followed us and tried to say something as we loaded the trunk. I slammed it shut and got in the passenger seat without responding. Claire drove away, and I watched the building disappear in the side mirror. My mom called me that evening while I was unpacking at Claire's place. She sounded tired. She told me that Norman's mother had called her suggesting a meeting between our families to find a path forward. I almost laughed. My mom said she'd politely told Norman's mother that wouldn't be happening and asked her not to contact us again. The fact that his mom still thought there could be a path forward showed she understood nothing. There was no path. There was no forward. There was just a way. I thanked my mom and she asked how I was really doing. I told her I didn't know yet. She said that was okay and that she loved me. After we hung up, I sat on Claire's couch and realized I hadn't slept properly in days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Norman at the altar. I saw his face when the phone rang. I saw his mother lying. I saw everything unraveling in front of 200 people. Claire suggested I talk to someone and gave me the number for Charlotte King, a therapist she'd heard good things about. I called the next morning and got an appointment for that afternoon. Charlotte's office was in a quiet building downtown. She was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with kind eyes and a direct way of speaking. She asked what brought me in, and I told her the whole story. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she asked what I needed to feel safe again. Not what happened or how I felt about it. What I needed to feel safe. The question caught me off guard. I admitted I was having trouble sleeping. She asked what was keeping me awake, and I said I kept replaying the moment at the altar over and over. She nodded and asked what I was looking for in those replays. I said I was trying to figure out how I missed everything. Charlotte leaned forward slightly and told me that wasn't the right question. The right question was why Norman chose to deceive me. She said I was angrier at myself than at him, and I needed to redirect that anger where it belonged. I felt tears starting and tried to stop them. Charlotte handed me tissues and said it was okay to be angry at myself, but I needed to understand that Norman deliberately deceived me. His deception said nothing about my intelligence or worth. It said everything about his character. We talked for the full hour, and I left feeling slightly less like I was drowning. The photographer emailed 2 days later. She said she still expected payment for the day even though the wedding didn't happen. She'd shown up and taken pictures of the ceremony before it fell apart. Her invoice was attached. I stared at the number and felt sick. I forwarded the email to Valeria and asked if there was anything she could do. Valeria called me within an hour. She said she'd reached out to the photographer and negotiated a reduced rate. The photographer could still use the pre-ceremony photos for her portfolio, so she was willing to accept 60% of the original cost. It was better than nothing. I agreed and thanked Valeria for handling it. She said she was sorry about everything and hoped I was taking care of myself. I said I was trying. That night, I made the mistake of checking social media. Norman had posted a status about going through a difficult time and learning from mistakes. Several people who didn't know what happened had commented with support. Someone wrote that everyone makes mistakes, and growth is what matters. Another person said they were proud of him for being vulnerable. I stared at the screen, feeling my blood pressure rise. He was painting himself as someone going through a hard time, not someone who'd lied and cheated and destroyed someone else's life. I wanted to comment and tell everyone the truth. I wanted to share screenshots of our text exchanges. I wanted to expose every lie, but I closed the app instead. Claire was right when she said engaging with him would only make things worse. He wasn't worth my energy anymore. I closed the app and put my phone face down on Claire's coffee table. She looked up from her laptop where she'd been working on something and asked if I was okay. I told her I was done looking at his stuff, done caring what story he told himself to sleep at night. She nodded and said that was probably healthy. Then she suggested something that caught me off guard. She said I should write out everything I wanted to say to Norman but never send it, just to get all the feelings out of my head and onto paper. I stared at her for a second because it seemed too simple to actually help, but she insisted it worked for her after a bad breakup years ago. She grabbed a notebook from her desk drawer and handed it to me with a pen. I took it and sat cross-legged on the couch, staring at the blank page for a while before I started writing. Once I started, I couldn't stop. I filled 7 pages with anger and hurt and questions I'd never get answers to. I wrote about the moment at the altar when everything shattered. I wrote about feeling stupid for missing signs that seemed obvious now. I wrote about his mother's lies and his fake pregnancy excuse and how he tried to hug me at the apartment like nothing had happened. I wrote things I wished I'd said when he was making excuses, sharp words that felt good to put on paper even if he'd never hear them. When I finished, my hand was cramping and my eyes were burning, but I felt lighter somehow. Claire asked if I wanted to keep the pages or get rid of them, and I said I wanted them gone. She led me to her fireplace and handed me a lighter. I watched the pages curl and blacken in the flames, and it felt surprisingly good to see all those words turn to ash. My dad called the next morning and asked if I wanted to get lunch. I said yes because I knew he was trying to help, even though neither of us really knew what to say about everything. We met at a sandwich place near his office, and he looked tired when he sat down across from me. He started talking before I could even open my menu. He apologized for not seeing through Norman, said he seemed like such a good guy who treated me well. His voice cracked a little when he said he should have known something was wrong. I reached across the table and put my hand on his. I told him Norman fooled everyone, not just me. I said Norman was good at lying. That was the whole problem. My dad nodded, but I could tell he still felt bad about it. We talked about other things while we ate, normal stuff about work and my brothers and my mom's new garden project. It felt good to have a conversation that wasn't entirely about the disaster at the altar. When we finished eating, my dad paid the check and hugged me in the parking lot. He said he was proud of how I was handling everything, and that helped both of us feel less guilty about missing the signs. I ran into one of Norman's cousins at the grocery store 3 days later. I was reaching for cereal when I heard someone say my name. I turned and there she was, looking uncomfortable but walking toward me anyway. She said she'd been thinking about me and wanted to check how I was doing. I said I was fine and tried to move my cart past her, but she kept talking. She said Norman was really struggling with everything, like that was supposed to make me feel something other than angry. I stopped and looked at her directly. I told her he should be struggling since he created this entire mess by lying for 2 years and cheating 3 months before our wedding. Her face went red and she started to say something about how everyone makes mistakes. I didn't let her finish. I said mistakes are forgetting to call someone back or being late to dinner, not hiding a child and stalking an ex. Then I walked away before she could say anything else. My hands were shaking when I got to the checkout line, but I was glad I'd said it. Valeria called me that evening with final numbers on the wedding costs. I'd been avoiding thinking about the money part because I knew it would make me angry all over again. She went through each vendor and what they'd agreed to. The venue kept half the deposit. The caterer kept $1,000. The photographer took 60% like we'd negotiated. The florist kept everything because flowers had already been ordered. When she finished adding it up, she said I was losing about $12,000 total. It was less than I'd feared when I first started canceling things, but it was still a huge financial hit that made me want to scream. $12,000 gone because Norman couldn't tell the truth. Valeria said she was sorry and that she'd done everything she could to minimize the losses. I thanked her for all her help and hung up. Then I sat on Claire's couch and stared at the wall, doing math in my head about how long it would take me to recover from this. I decided to ask Norman to pay half of the lost deposits. It seemed fair since his lies caused the cancellation in the first place. I opened my laptop and started an email, keeping it formal and direct. I wrote out an itemized list of every lost deposit with the vendor name and amount. The total came to $12,347. I asked him to pay half, which was $6,173.50. I said it was only fair that he take some financial responsibility for the consequences of his actions. I read the email 3 times before sending it, making sure my tone stayed calm and factual. His response came back 2 hours later. It was long, way longer than it needed to be. He wrote about how he was already financially stressed from lawyer fees for the custody situation with Vanessa. He said he was barely making rent right now and couldn't afford to pay me anything. He went on about how he knew he'd messed up, but punishing him financially wouldn't help either of us move forward. The whole message made me want to scream. He was acting like paying for the damage he caused was some kind of unfair punishment instead of basic responsibility. I called Nadia and told her about Norman's response. She asked if I wanted her to send him a legal letter demanding repayment, and I said yes immediately. His refusal to take any financial responsibility was somehow more infuriating than the original betrayal. At least when he lied about his son and the affair, I could tell myself he was weak or scared or whatever excuse made sense. But refusing to pay for the mess he created was just selfish. Nadia said she'd draft something official and have it sent within a few days. The letter would request $6,000 within 30 days and outline potential legal action if he didn't comply. I knew he probably still wouldn't pay, but having it in writing from a lawyer felt important. It felt like I was doing something instead of just accepting that he could destroy my life and walk away without consequences. Norman's father called my dad a week after Nadia sent the letter. My dad called me right after and put me on speaker, so I could hear what had happened. Norman's father had offered to pay $3,000 to help settle things and let everyone move forward. He said he knew his son had made terrible choices and he wanted to do something to make it right. My dad asked me what I wanted to do. I thought about it for a minute. $3,000 wasn't the full $6,000 I'd asked for, but it was better than nothing. I told my dad to accept it. I wanted this finished. I wanted to stop thinking about Norman and his family and the money I'd lost. My dad said he'd call back and arrange the payment. Norman's father sent a check 2 days later with a note saying he was sorry for everything. I deposited it without reading the note again. I started looking for a new